Hello, is it 2022 or 2020 also? Feels like this COVID thing has been going on for ages. Want to know what the market's thinking? Well, throughout this whole thing, we've seen a large dip last year in March, largely recovered after that. S&P kind of had a better year than the Dow and Nasdaq. But as you can see from where this all began in March 2020, there was our big dip and nice bull market after that. But we're obviously not out of the woods yet because we've got potential new closures. Omicron is our current variant, and the rate at which it spread was really astonishing. And we're even higher than this now. We'll get to that later. Thought we would start off with some wise words from Charlie Munger, who just turned 98, and has some choice words about inflation, EBITDA, and marriage. So, yes, I know some people prefer it EBITDA. They pronounce it differently. I've been pronouncing it EBITDA for too many decades to change now. So, even if it's not proper, I think we know what we're talking about. And what Charlie Munger thinks about EBITDA is it's bullshit earnings, meaning that, you really need to take into account these capital costs, right? Interest and depreciation and taxes to really see what a company is doing. I thought this was also brilliant. If people weren't often so wrong, we wouldn't be so rich. Oh, Charlie. He's got some great ones in here. It's the way he got married. His wife lowered her expectations. This was great. On money managers. The general system for money managers requires people to pretend that they can do something they can't do, and to pretend to like it when they really don't. I think it's a terrible way to spend your life, but it's well paid. And I think it does summarize money management pretty well. What else did we have? Oh, yeah, derivative accounting. Actually, that's just the accounting of derivatives, like options. Finally, a parting shot. I think I've offended enough people, Buffett, but there's 2 or 3 in the balcony. Oh my gosh. So, you look at a snapshot headlines. Not too much about COVID these days, at least, Seeking Alpha. This over here, this is the main website of CNBC. So, definitely still getting COVID headlines with respect to the market. Nothing really negative, right? The Dow is hitting records, but there's this in a world where nothing seems to make sense. The inverse relationship between the inflation and employment is still a reality. We are seeing record inflation. Where are we here? 6.8% in November, just a few months ago. Highest since June 82. And there are a lot of people who feel that these inflation figures are underestimated. But in any regard, we are seeing inflation here and there, which is probably not unrelated to these equity markets and their nice streaks. The Omicron is a curious variant here, because what you'll see is that. So this is Washington, and I'll go to the U.S. in just a moment here, but you've got the daily deaths pretty well under control. Even hospital resource use isn't too bad. Go back over to the chart here. But this is something that we'll see, and that is that a lot more infections. This is going back to the beginning of it. It's outstanding. Look at this. Daily infections and testing. And here we are, right? The vaccine became available kind of around this period here. And boom, this is Omicron. It's just spread like wildfire. But it's a less dangerous variant. And, in some cases, we are seeing the relaxing of certain restrictions. Not everywhere. In some ways, things are tightening, but let's look at it from a national perspective, right? Daily infections and testing here as well, nationally. You would think of all the lockdowns and everything we've done, and right, that market correction that we saw over here, it boggles the mind a little bit, but part of the explanation that helps make sense of this are the daily deaths. So even over here in the most pessimistic, it's not even hitting the peak of daily deaths, because essentially it's a less dangerous variant. Unfortunately, there's even talks of today that there's another variant after Omicron, and maybe it's coming from France or something. But as we saw with the markets, they're not terribly concerned. I think maybe sometimes these headlines make it in there when there's really, just a couple traders who might blame it on COVID, when maybe there's other things going on. Because this was back a few days ago in December, but
unlimited data
the market
for
is
families
not. The market is not extremely concerned. We're seeing, just a nice bull market. Looking at some new milestones, I think we missed Charlie's quote on inflation. Let's end on that. I'm no optimistic about life. If I can be optimistic when I'm nearly dead, he just turned 98, surely the rest of you can handle a little inflation. Okay, Charlie, thank you. We'll catch you next time.